I'm here. I'm here. Isn't that a blessing? And I'm so glad that you're there. This is a different night for me, as you know. I am switching over from where I was traditionally on Tuesdays. Then I went to Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And now I'll be on every Monday and Wednesday at 6:30, from 6:30 to 7:30. And so I'm excited about that. And even more excited that you will, and whoever else is supposed to be here with me, will be here with me. And that in itself is just so exciting. You guys, we get to take this wonderful, awesome journey together. And it seems as though, in spite of ourselves, it just works out perfectly. It works out so perfectly. So I'm so excited. I see everybody in the room. Even Susie's in the room. Hey, Chris. I see all of you guys are here. And so I'm getting set up still, but it's okay because it's like it ought to be. And I've got my little Ustream channel going in the background on another computer. I've got Pal Talk on this one. And for those of you who may be joining me from off of the radio or wherever you're joining me from, I will be, if I get any messages on Pal Talk, we'll be talking to folks over Pal Talk. And as you know, that is a chat room from which we broadcast the show. And so there's a little chat screen that I'll be looking at as I go through this particular day. You guys, I see that we have, I'd be remiss if I did not say that um, I was with my dad most of the day today, and somebody came in the room finally and said to me, "Wasn't that terrible?" And I thought, what? What wasn't what terrible? Um, and they started telling me about the bomb that went off up in Boston, Massachusetts, Boston, Mass. And that there were, I guess, a couple people killed and a lot more injured on this day. And so I'd be remiss if I didn't say something about that. And I probably will as I get into my role. You guys, if you've ever heard me, you know how I am. I roll. And so I pick up steam and then I'm done. It's kind of like a guy, isn't it? You pick up steam and then, ooh, you have that climax and then it's like time to take a nap. so so I'm here. So you guys, as I always do, let me start off so I can reset myself, my energy, my mind, by doing what I always do, which is recite for you the introduction of A Course in Miracles. You know, it's right up in the front of the book, right behind the table of contents, and just before you get into the text chapter 1. It says, it goes like this. It just has the little word right up over the top, introduction. And then it says, this is A Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. The aim of the course is not to teach the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to your awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Ooh, isn't that wonderful? I love that. And every time I read it, I'll tell you, as I say it, I recite it every time. I get into the course, and it must be that I recite that to myself or to other people, let's say 3, 4 times a week, and have done so for years because that's how I always start off. I've done it for years. And so every time I say it, absolutely every time I say it, different stuff comes up for me in the midst of while I'm saying it. And so, you know how they say that, well, not just that you can't step into the same river twice, but you know how people say to you that once you watch a movie, you watch it one time, you see a lot of different things. You watch it twice, you see stuff you never saw before. You watch it a third or a fourth or a fifth time, and different things pop out at you. That's the same way it is when I watch The Matrix. It's like every single time I watch it, I notice or pick up something different. And I tell you, I've watched it over 100 times. I, Shamefully. I mean, I watch that Matrix like some people watch the Rocky Horror Picture Show or something like that. I watched it over and over again, and sometimes I see the billboard in the background or the sign on the side of the motel, or I mean, it's just everything, and the scenes are so rich with so much information. I get something every time. It's the same way anytime you read the course, you pick up and you start to read a chapter over or a lesson over, something that you've read 100 times, and all of a sudden something else dawns on you, or you hear it in some strange new way. And so, it's always fascinating to me as I go through and I pick out things, I read things, how it just seems to resonate over and over again for me, depending upon where I am in a particular day. So even today, as we are listening and we're thinking about the tragedies that have gone on in Boston, I started thinking to myself that, I'm my body, and we're never upset for the reasons that we think, and we cannot be attacked, and nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists. And so I'm tempted to be, take on the what do I want to say, that exterior, like sometimes we do in the spiritual community, and say, oh, as if, we're not affected by this, not affected by what goes on for other folks, because we're above that. We know the truth about our being. The truth is that our lives are never threatened, that no matter what happens to us, we don't die, we go on living. We all know these certain truths. But I think at some point, as we sit there and we, in our pious attitude, try to espouse those types of things, we come across as being insensitive rather than really reflecting that not only has somebody lost their lives, but there are legions of other people who are hurt, who are upset, who have lost someone, who are grappling to understand, who are now cast into this, back into this, this thing called fear, and not really knowing what to do or how to get out of it. I am tomorrow beginning a new class, whole new chapter in teaching the course here in Cleveland, Ohio. And there is a certain excitement that I feel every time I get a new group of people who want to learn or hear about the course, and the challenges that brings up each time. The juicy discussions about whether all of this stuff is real and whether or not it matters. All that is so exciting to me. And so, as I think about it, from the perspective of these folks and them going through things, there is this. There is this thing that I know that what we're doing here is not necessarily learning. We're here to get peace. I mean, we're here to find the peace in our own being that says that no matter what goes on, everything is all right. For those of you who have been with me on this journey, I know all of this stuff happened for me on a Tuesday when my father suddenly had this brain hemorrhage. We rushed him off to the hospital. The 4 weeks in ICU, the other 2 months in a different hospital, and 2 more months now. It seems like it's been going on for a while. And I know a lot of people have been with me every step of the journey. Even sitting in the hospital, I still sat there and I did my show, knowing that the truth is that all of us at some point will have to relinquish this manifestation, this bodily manifestation that we're in now. We'll have to give that up. And knowing we can say, oh yeah, it's not real, but this is the way I know you and you know me. This is the experience that I'm having right now. And so at some point there is this uncertainty of going from one realm into another realm. And that for many of us is frightening. That for many of us is just trying to, make some sense out of all that's going on. We're thinking to ourselves, and I don't know about you. I know that there is a part of me that says that when it's over, it's over. When it's done, it's done. I mean, it has to be perfect because that is all that's possible for it to be. There's a part of me that knows that innately. There's a part of me that is at peace with that, but still there's another part of me that says my ego self, my human self, this side of me is not quite ready. I'm not quite ready, and I know that many of the people that were there aren't quite ready. And so we keep playing these games with one another, these fearful toy child games that says that, and let me drop a bomb or let me do something here to threaten the peace of God, which goes beyond all of this. But here's the thing. There are not many of us who can say that, and I think about this from time to time, because even with this idea that we have in our society of people who go above and beyond what's necessary. Last week I talked about Joseph Campbell and the book that I'm still reading, Thou Art That, when he talked about the tendency of people to connect with one another, to connect with someone else that they may have never seen before, because they know that there is this oneness, this divine oneness, and it's not even a tangible thought. It's not something that we can like even sink our teeth into to say that I know I am one with you. It goes beyond an intellectual understanding to rather a spiritual connectedness. And in that connectedness, we look and we help out. We throw ourselves fully into danger for somebody else. Not because we think somebody would do it for us. It's that because we cannot imagine doing otherwise. I mean, to sit back, I mean, even for me, if I sit back and I do nothing, I sit there and I think to myself, I couldn't live. I couldn't live with the person that I know that I am if I sat back and did nothing, sat back passively and didn't take part. And I know that there is this whole school of thought that says I need do nothing. I don't need to do anything. I want to do it. I want to do for my brother, not because I feel that there's some moral imperative to do so, but because I desire to do so. Because that for me is that connectedness, that love that cannot be taught. And so, as I recognize and know that is true about myself, I know it's true about so many others. And people, whether they're law enforcement or safety officials or not, run out to help somebody else when they see they're in trouble. Our hearts go out to people when we see them having lost somebody that they care about. Not because we think that the body is real, but because we know what it feels like. Because all of us have a date with this thing that we call on this level death. All of us have a date with that. Even if we know that it's just simply going from one level of experience to another, we all have to go through that. And so, my heart goes out, my prayers, my energy, sending light and love to all those that are in Boston, all those that are affected, and saying, fear not, fear not, fear not. So, so today, as I came in here, I was thinking about so many different things, not just about the Boston thing, because I know that that can, have a tendency to consume us in our thinking. So yeah, while I might see that it has that ability, if I focused in on that, has this ability to consume me, I also know that there is so many other things that are going on, so many events that are unfolding constantly in our awareness to help us to grow to where we need to grow to. So today is no different. Today is no different. I remember, and I'll, let me get a feel for all of this. I remember when the events of 9/11 happened here. And I know for many of us, what happened in Boston would seem somewhat similar to that. When 9/11 happened, I remember I struggled with, I was like, deep into my spiritual practice. As a matter of fact, I was meditating, I do believe, when all that stuff happened, because I was here at the house and I got a phone call, and was probably writing or meditating or something like that. And I remember going in, as I cut on my TV, my sister-in-law had called me as if the sky was falling, like calling me up to say goodbye, that the world was coming to an end. And I, I turned on the television time enough to see the second plane going into the World Trade Center. And I remember asking the question, I was like saying, God, I'm praying at that point. I'm saying, God, I know that everything happens for the good. I know that only love is real. And if I know that only love is real, like if what is all encompassing can have no opposites, I said, help me see this in a way that makes sense. Help me see this through your eyes. Let me see what you see. And I remember, and at some point doing this long, lengthy prayer, I was like, and I want to see it now. I asked for the correction and I want it now. And as soon as I said that, it was as if the peace came over me, that peace that said, oh, Sandra, just great, and gave me every single answer that I could have thought I wanted. So it becomes this thing of, um, eh, yeah, it becomes this thing of allowing ourselves to open our eyes and see the truth in the situation. Now, your revelation might be different from my revelation. It doesn't make yours wrong and mine's right. It doesn't necessarily mean um, that just because I received an answer, you'll receive the same answer, or that you will receive an answer that somehow soothes or satisfies your soul. I should hope that it will. As a matter of fact, I know that it will, because the Holy Spirit comforts you. That is what it is here to do. And so it gives you something at the level of your own understanding that you can wrap your mind around, you can wrap your thoughts around, and get a sense of, of exhale through all of that. And so when you open yourself up to hear the answer really does come. And an answer can come immediately. That's one of the wonderful things, the juicy things. And that's one of the things I get so excited about. It's like developing, like Dove says all the time, that developing that level of trust to know that when you're looking for something, when you're looking for an answer, when you've got a question on your mind, when you feel troubled, that there is an answer coming for you. And it's saying to you, you know what? Fret not, my child, because you have never been, nor could you ever be separated from the truth that you are still one with me. And so, as I recognize that truth, I recognize it for me, I recognize it for you, I recognize it for every person in Boston and every person all over the world. We have never been separate and apart from God. So I am going to reach for my book because I want to, not because I need to, but because I want to. I'm going to reach for my book, which is right over here. I actually brought it in the room with me, and and because I had taken all this stuff with me to the hospital today because I wanted to look at some things and kind of get prepared for what I'm doing, what all I'm doing tomorrow. I'm even so before I work on these syllabuses all the time, syllabi. I think it's syllabi when you say it plural. So I work on the syllabi all the time, and it's so funny because as I work on it, I have a tendency not to let my preparedness get in the way of inspiration or what spirit dictates to me or says to me at any given moment. And so in doing that, it becomes this thing of, in the midst of me talking and teaching, I change my mind. I may think that I'm going one place, but I get nudged in a different direction. I mean, I know you know that if you've ever listened to me here. All of a sudden, I could be talking about one thing and something else lights on the canvas of my mind. And so then I go with that thing. And to me, that's one of the wonderful things, not only about studying and being, knowing how to be prepared for stuff, but it is just so wonderful because since I'm doing this, especially here, I've developed this level of trust, not only with you, but with myself, that I can talk and I can talk and I can talk. So a few minutes ago, when I opened up my computer, I'm just rambling. I'm not rambling, but I'm getting to a point. But a few minutes ago, when I opened up my computer and I turned it on, Rachel had sent me a message along with Dove, both of them saying that Rachel, who is on at 7:30, has to be someplace. And so she won't be able to do her 7:30 to 8 time slot, and said, so Sandra, could you do it for her? And so that means 90 minutes instead of just an hour. And I thought, oh, sure, certainly I can do that. And not because I have so much to talk about, but because once I set out and I've got my mind set on, if I've got 90 minutes instead of 60 minutes, I can do that. And so that's one of the wonderful things about being prepared, that it's always available to you. It is ready at hand. Um, one of the things that I love about God is this analogy that I think if it was Immanuel Kant that used to say that God is present at hand, not just something that you try to have to go someplace to access, not something where you've got to wait till Sunday morning or go to a particular place or dress a particular way, but present at hand anytime, any place. The moment you get the thought in your mind, it is present at hand. The thing itself, as Ernest Holmes would say, is everywhere present. And let me touch on that for a second too, because last week I talked a little bit about how naming a thing takes away something from it, because the moment you say what it is, you're saying what it you cancel all of the things that you think it is not. And so in naming a thing, it's as if we can pinpoint allness. which is, we know, is impossible. You can't pinpoint allness. And so it becomes this thing that naming it takes away from it. I understood that the that which is and that which is not, it is not, is a customary way that certain Eastern countries use. When I say Eastern, I'm thinking I don't know if it's India or the Orient or someplace else, but they always say the positive and the negative so that they can encompass all of it, the yin and the yang effect. And so at some point, we have to recognize not only all that it is, but all that it is that we think it isn't. And so even the things that we think are not is. Isn't that special? So when I opened up my book here, I didn't open up my Course in Miracles book, but I did open up another book that I used all the time when I'm teaching classes to take notes, because not only do I like to take notes on the things that I say, but I also like to take notes on things that other people say. It's as if, like the Course says, that the teacher is learning simultaneously. We really think that we're here to teach, but what we're really doing is we're really learning. And so it becomes this trust thing that a teacher and a student, it's a symbiotic relationship that teacher and student have, that all of us are here for the process. We think that we're teaching something, but we're really learning something because we're opening up ourselves to whatever is to come through us. And that's the wonderful thing about spirit. It simply shows up. It simply is. It shows up right on time with whatever it is. So can the Son of God be assaulted is what I turn to. Can the Son of God be assaulted? Isn't that like right on time? And then the answer that I see here that I talked about in this particular class, seek to save your life and you shall surely lose it, is something that's out of the Testament, out of the New Testament. Seek to save your life and you shall surely lose it. Because if you think that this life is your life, then you've already lost it in the first place. You don't know what it is. And the moment we think that we know, we realize that we don't know. And it's so wonderful. I see people all the time who swear up and down that they know. Socrates said, and he was believed to be one of the most intelligent men ever. And I don't know about you. I'm like going off on another tangent here. I don't know about you, but I think if you haven't studied the death of Socrates and how all that came about, you might want to read it, because it was so similar to the death of Jesus. As a matter of fact, he was put to death for corrupting the youth, trying to get them to think. and so and so he was made to drink poison, and somebody told him too, you know what, Socrates, we're going to leave this gate open for you. You can run, you can free yourself. You don't have to suffer this death. And so it was a similar thing. It's amazing how similar it is to the death of Jesus, and for the same reasons. Whatever. So, but to seek your life, to seek to save your life is to lose it. Assault, it says, can primarily only be made upon the body. If destruction is possible, then it's not real in the first place. And so, so, so the thing is that, we get confused about who and what we are. I see at this home where my dad is now, I see all types of people. And these people are going through varying stages of illness and ailments in their body. And some people would take it that the body and its deterioration is the truth about their being, while others seem quite content where they are in their situation. I know that for me, I even look at the staff there, and it's amazing sometimes as I look around at the staff, like and of course, me. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm this happy. I'm that happy ass girl that walks in with a smile on her face all the time, and people are thinking like, "What the hell are you smiling about?" It's Monday, and it's Monday morning, no less. Why are you smiling? And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, I have absolutely no earthly reason to be smiling other than that's simply what I do. Um, I forget about all of the justifications that I have for happiness. If I have to think about being happy, to me, I'm not really happy because I have to think about being happy. It's as if I'm faking something. I am joyful. I have joy within. And all I want to do is to try to help others figure out how to also have that same level of joy within. Because I know that for me, life seems fabulous. And I can't imagine it being otherwise. I can't imagine sitting there and taking on the perception that something is inherently wrong with the experience I'm having. So no matter what's going on with my father and his health, yeah, I put on my little superwoman cape and I go around with my sword like I'm the Avenger, and we need to do this and we need to do that and get it right, get it right, get it right. Yes, I do that because because there is a part of me that says that, you know what, if something happens, let it not be because of my negligence, but rather because God deemed it to be so. And so yeah, I do what I have to do in order to make things happen. But to the large extent, to the most extent, all you will ever see is me in this happy, chipper way. And even while I'm fussing, I'm smiling and I'm happy. I'm just sitting there and saying, don't mistake this smile. Don't mistake my smile for for agreement with you, for this, for not being able to articulate my needs. I know that people want to make me happy. I know that people want to please me just like I want to please them. That the natural state of our being is to be love and loving. And so if that's the natural state of our being, let me speak to that. Let me always affirm that love, that loving place, as opposed to getting caught up in things that are not true. The things that are not true is this idea that I can be a victim, that I'm a victim of that's not true. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. No way, no how. And so even at the times I can recall when I thought I was, it was simply a changing of my mind. It was a change in how I looked at things. And when I changed how I looked at things, everything changed about me. So even in this, the Son of God cannot be assaulted. If you think you were assaulted, then that thought came up in your mind for you to learn the resilience of your soul, to learn that nothing real can be threatened and you are real and nothing unreal exists. All the rest of that stuff is gone by the wayside. It showed up to teach you a lesson or for you to learn a lesson. I know some folks don't like to say it like that, but sometimes we do need to admit that part of what we're going through, this growth process, this life, is about our maturation, us maturing into what is possible for us. I mean, so many of us live these lives where we're kind of like, not in our fullness. We're scrunched down, we're hiding, we're fearful, we're, just all that stuff. And if we really want to live the larger existence requires that we go through some things so that we can expand in our consciousness. Anything that stretches beyond where it was originally, you're going to feel some hurt, some pain, some resistance even. But that stretch grows us. That stretch makes us bigger, makes us stronger, makes us larger. And it is possible that through that stretching out of our being, that we finally step into the largeness that God desires for your life and for mine. Because, know it or not, believe it or not, there is this, when I talk about this, that quote that Gene Houston said, that the infinite, knowing that it cannot contract, coded the relative for expansion into itself. So there is this expansion that is necessary for God to fulfill itself in this universe. And so it takes all of us, it takes all of us expanding and expanding and expanding to complete this expansion process. So in the course, when it talks about this idea that that it is necessary for the atonement that all of our brothers get it, all of our brothers, not some of them, all of them get it. So if it's necessary that all of them get it, it says that it's not a question of if, it's simply when. And so if that's the question, when will we all get it? It's saying that you're getting it or not getting it is not even, it's a non-issue, because it says that the whole universe will wait until you do, until you catch up, until you realize your truth. So at some point, if we're walking this walk, at some point in our life's journey, we're going to get it and understand. And now I want to tell you guys this little thing, because I just thought it was just, it goes along with it for some odd reason. Um, I know a lot of people who study astrology, and through their study of astrology, they're always talking about it. And it's not just astrology. I mean, it's a lot of different things. I mean, I'm always fascinated by what I guess I can consider like ancient wisdom or something like that. I don't know what it is. Um, but in the Mason societies, they've got this thing called a 360-degree Mason. Um, and the same thing with astrology. It seems as though our souls go through revolutions. And so if you ever notice, most zodiacs, when a zodiac is printed, it starts off with Aries, which is like the baby of the zodiac. That's like the first sign of the zodiac. I don't know if it's because it starts in the spring or what, but then it ends with Pisces. So it begins with Aries, the babies, and then it ends with the old souls, Pisces. And so it seems as though, from what I understood, that each of those, each sign has a degree, that it is carrying out, something that that soul needs to learn in that particular um, level of existence. And there is this thing that some people say, that our souls keep growing and maturing, not growing in the sense of size, but in the sense of maturing until it gets to a certain point. Now, I tell you that I say all the time that I remember when God said, "Let there be." When, because I was there. I was like right there. I was in the chorus of voices when God said, "Let us make man in our own image." I was part of that usness. And so if my soul has always been and shall always be, because nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists, herein lies the peace of God. Since I know that to be true, I can get with this idea of these souls evolving and having all these revolutions. I can get with that idea. I know a lot of people are sitting there and they're thinking like, whatever. I mean, I don't know exactly how it works. I don't need to know how it works. I just trust that it does, that there is a power beyond what I can comprehend on this level, and there is a plan beyond what I can comprehend on this level, and that's exactly where we need to be. So, okay, so something prompted me to open up my book, so I'm going to read something for you guys, and just because I can, and because it's all good, and because it's all good. So, so here I opened up my book and so I opened up my book, and this is what I do all the time. The ego tries to comprehend. You gotta laugh. Yes, 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 Dove. Okay, so here I opened up my book, and when I opened up my book, it opened up and just totally on its own. With me just flipping it open, it opened up to chapter 6, the lessons of love. And so I'm going to read real quickly out of here for you, just because I turned to it and I'm prompted, whenever I do this, I'm prompted to read it. And maybe it's a correction that the Holy Spirit has for me. Maybe it's something that is going to add to some understanding for you. I don't know, but I'm just going to read. You learn first that having rests on giving and not on getting. Oh, okay. So here, let me stop right there for a second and say to you that I just got an email from someone who was asking about the class that I'll be teaching tomorrow, and they asked how much it costs. Is there a cost? And like I always do, I would hate for somebody not to come to a class that I was giving because they thought that they couldn't afford to. And so what I always say to folks is that we accept donations. And if you bring a quarter, it's based on your willingness to give, and the cost of giving is receiving, and it's all part of a process. And as we give, we learn something in the process. Our giving, our willingness to give opens up something for us. So it's not a requirement. It's not like you're blessing me. It's like you're blessing yourself. And so, because really there's only one of us, right? So it's like giving to me is giving to you, and giving to you is giving to me. And so, how could I not? So I just thought that that was interesting, that that opened up to that. Next, that you learn that you learn what you teach and what you want to learn, and that you want to learn peace. I said that. I just said that. That's so sweet and so good and so very juicy. This is the condition of identifying with the kingdom, since it is the condition of the kingdom. You have believed that you are without the kingdom and have therefore excluded yourself from it in your belief. It is therefore essential to teach you that you must be included, and that the belief that you are not is the only thing that you must exclude. Y'all are not going to really believe that I just opened up to this by accident after I said all of this. I just opened it up. Seriously, this was not premeditated. And I don't even have a bookmark on this page. That's one of the reasons why I'm reading it, because I know it was spirit. It was spirit, spirit, spirit. So the third step is thus one of protection for your mind, allowing you to identify only with the center where God placed the altar to himself. Altars are beliefs, but God and his creations are beyond belief because they are beyond question. Oh, don't you love that? Beyond belief because they are beyond question. What simply is needs no explanation. It doesn't leave room for questioning for any of that stuff. It is beyond question. Oh, wow. And there was another, you know what? There's a part in the Joseph Campbell book that says something that is just like that. Okay, so here, I just opened up this. It's in our notions of God. And it says, when you, I'm reading out of Joseph Campbell now. When you think about what you have experienced in the apprehension of forms in time and space, y'all get that, okay? You employ the grammar of thought, the ultimate categories of which are being and non-being. Is there a God? If the word God means anything, it must mean nothing. God is not a fact. A fact is an object in the field of time and space, an image in a dream field. God is no dream. God is no fact. God is a word referring past anything that can be conceived of or named. Yet people think that think of their God as having sentiments just like we do, liking these people better than those and having certain rules for their lives. Moses received a great deal of information from what they called this non fact, as understood particularly in the Judeo Christian. God is a final term. Um, and so this goes on. It's so, let me see, because I want to read past that. Um, okay, so okay, so wait a minute. So wait a minute. I'm kind of like skipping. I'm trying to read past some things. Uh, okay, let me just read this because I got 90 minutes. Okay, so I can read it. So just bear with me. Okay. In all other systems, gods are agents, manifestations, or imagined functionaries of an energy that transcends all conceptualization. They are not the source of the energy, but rather the agents of it. Put in this way, is the God the source, or is the God a human manner of conceiving of the force and energy that supports the world? In our tradition, God is a male. This male and female differentiation is made, however, within the field of time and space, the field of duality. If God is beyond duality, if you cannot say that God is a he, you cannot say that God is a she. You cannot even say that God is an it. So it's saying that this whole question, just like he was saying here, it's beyond the question. It's beyond that. It's beyond all of that stuff. It is beyond the idea of space and time in this field of matter that we know. Because we exist in space and time. We exist as matter. We exist in this particular realm right here and right now. If it is in fact beyond all of that, if it's beyond all of that, then it's not even related to us on the level at which we understand. So that is why in here in the course is saying absolutely the truth, that it is essential that we know that it is beyond belief because it is beyond question. It is the substance out of which all things are made. Oh, I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. And so, okay, so let me keep going. As long as belief in God and his kingdom is assailed by any doubt in your mind, his perfect accomplishment is not apparent to you. That is why you must be vigilant on God's behalf. The ego speaks against his creation and therefore engenders doubt. You cannot go beyond belief until you believe fully. I love this. You cannot go beyond belief until you believe fully. To teach the whole sonship without exception demonstrates that you perceive its wholeness and have learned that it is one. Now you must be vigilant to hold its oneness in your mind, because if you let doubt enter, you will lose awareness of its wholeness, and will be unable to teach it. The wholeness of the kingdom does not depend on your perception, but your awareness of its wholeness does. I love it. 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 It is only your awareness that needs protection, since being cannot be assailed. Yet a real sense of being cannot be yours while you are doubtful of what you are. This is why vigilance is essential. Doubt about being must not enter your mind, or you cannot know what you are with certainty. Certainty is of God for you. Vigilance is not necessary for truth, but it is necessary against illusions. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. So on one hand, it's saying that, Joseph Campbell over here is saying that as long as we're trying to make personify God, like so many of us do, we're sitting there and we think that God gets caught up in our day-to-day activities, having judgments about a guy who drops a bomb or the people who lose their lives because of it. If God is beyond all of this stuff, like in the Bible, it says that God is not a God of the dead, but of the living. All live unto God. So he's not caught up. She's not caught up. It's not caught up in any of the stuff that we think, because we're always projecting our self thoughts onto this thing that we believe to be God. We're always projecting that. We think, oh, God doesn't like this, God doesn't like that, God don't like ugly. We're always saying that. We talk about ideas of sin. We talk about ideas of punishment. We talk about ideas of guilt in other schools of thought. I mean, that's how we come up. That's what we learn. And then we come to the course, and then we see that it is beyond all of that. It is beyond all of that. And so it becomes this simple thing of seeing that the kingdom is at hand, that the kingdom of God is at hand. It is everywhere present without exception, in all and through all, of the same magnitude, at the same intensity, everywhere. So some people like to think that, oh, because one expresses it different, oh, because Dub does more, or because Sandra goes here and speaks, or because somebody else has such a way with words, and somebody else is so, we like to think that somehow there is more God there than it is in another place. But the truth of the matter is that God is fully present everywhere. It's kind of like, for some reason, I keep wanting to say this holographic universe, that the fullness and the completeness is everywhere. It's not just one place or one space or one person or one time, one day, not the Sabbath on Sunday, or the Saturday 7-day Adventist folks, or not the Catholic folks. It's not any. We have this perception that is, like we're trying to compartmentalize God and put him here and put him there and make him this and make him that, instead of saying the allness, the wholeness, the whole, the whole. I love it when we can really get that it is beyond all of this little stuff that we get caught up in. Even this stuff about the assault of what it Jesus says in this book here. He says, if I knew, if I knew, or if I thought that the body was all I was, and I know I'm paraphrasing because I don't quote stuff very well, but some stuff I do. But if he's saying that if I knew that, that would I offer you something so little, like a body, right? Like a body, like my body, knowing that it can be destructed, knowing that it passes away, knowing, would I offer that to my brother? I mean, really? I mean, so really, he's saying that it's about so much more than just my body. Well, he didn't have a body quite like mine, And so when I offer you my body, that's offering you a heck of a lot, really. I mean, because it's special. It's special, damn it. No, that's an inside joke for Course in Miracles people. Don't listen to what I said, y'all. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, disregard it. But but it's like it's like recognizing that that it's beyond all of that. You are beyond all of that. That you are more than what you perceive yourself to be. More than just your feet and toes and your lips and nose and all that stuff. You're more than all of that. So much more. And so yeah, that is beyond assault. That is beyond all of this stuff. You cannot be persecuted Uh, you are always guiltless. One of the things I kept thinking about, when I get so excited about the course, I'm out and I'm telling people about the Course in Miracles. And some people would be tempted to say, well, why do you like the Course in Miracles so much? And some people would be so tempted to say, well, because in the Course in Miracles, we don't believe in sin. And so it's almost like you've got um, a get out of jail rich card, And so a lot of people are sitting there and they're making it seem like, wow, that's neat, just because then you could get out from under the perception that you're guilty. But really, I mean, that's such a low level of where the course is really at. Because for me, when I started coming into the awareness of really what the course was saying to me, it wasn't about whether or not I was a sinner or not. Yeah, because I was so far beyond that, because I had made up my mind, if sin was real, then I was doing it. If sin was real, if sin was punishable, then I was getting punished, and I was going to do just like I did in junior high school. Y'all may not feel me, but just like I did in junior high school, I'll assume the position, give me my swats, because you know what? I did it. And I was, probably going to do it again. This guy, some guy told somebody that, oh, Sandra used to be such a goody two-shoe in school. And I was thinking to myself, like, oh, see, you didn't know me at all. He didn't know me at all. Because I was not even close to a goody two-shoes, and I'm still not. And so that's funny too. So I was of the standpoint that I was going to take my licks and keep it moving. But the thing is it wasn't about being set free, because I think I set myself free before I even got to the Course in Miracles. I set myself free. I stopped beating up on myself. I didn't want that. I didn't want that type of existence where I was feeling guilty about this, that, or the other. That was just not my cup of tea. It was, I kept saying that either God was being real and truthful, or God was a liar. I mean, to me, that was the choices I was choosing between, and if there was stuff that I truly enjoyed, I was thinking to myself, if God has the ability to make man and then didn't want us to do or participate fully in life, then why make us in the first place? I mean, those were the kind of questions I was asking. Why give me this ability? Why give me the ability to have pleasure and then not want me to have the pleasure? Why give me the ability to be happy and then like me better when I was miserable? Why give me the ability to be rich and then think I would be somehow better to be poor? Why is it that why would people tell me that, a rich man can't get into the kingdom of heaven, when it seems as though, everybody is trying to get rich? I kept saying to myself, either somebody had to be lying. Somebody had to be lying. And I made up in my mind, believe fully or not at all, right? I made up in my mind that, that the God that they were teaching me about was not the God. It didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense. If God is all knowing, all powerful, everywhere present, this energy and back of all things animating the world, I couldn't see you animating me and allowing me to do something that you didn't want me to do. And so I rejected the whole notion, even before I got to the course, that there was a such thing of me being guilty for some sins. I knew I heard it. I heard it, but I was just like, okay, you know what? God, you don't have to deal with me, because, maybe there's something you got to answer to when I get there. That was where I was. I was like thinking, like, you got to answer for this. because I think you had, if it was true what people were saying, I was being dealt a bill of goods, you know? And so I had to get beyond that. And so what I found was that a lot of the things that I had been hearing weren't necessarily so. And so I started to, like a lot of folks do, is to seek answers. I wasn't the type that was like trying to hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. I just didn't want to know. I wanted to seek after I wanted to seek after truth as opposed to living a lie. And so I went in search of, and it's, and some people would think that, you stumble upon something that makes what you're doing okay. And it's not at all that. It becomes what resonates with your soul. It's not about, sitting up in the amen section, hallelujah, hallelujah, and agreeing with what everybody says, even though it makes no sense to you. It becomes this thing of resonance. And when the wonderful thing about when God speaks to you, it's as if you don't even need explanation for it. You just know. I mean, I don't know if you've experienced that kind of knowing. It's like I have been in situations where I just know something in my bones. Like, I just know that is true on a deep level that doesn't require explanation. I don't need no footnotes. I don't need somebody else saying it beforehand or somebody else giving me an amen or co-signing. None of that stuff. I just know deep down inside of my bones. I just know. And I make no apologies for the knowing that I get. And that doesn't come through just lollygagging and listening to other folks. I know it's nice to listen to everybody else talk, but it becomes this thing of me sitting down in the quiet. It's like me doing my meditation, is me doing my study, my work that gets me to a point of where, to where not only do I just know stuff, I know it, and I know that I know it, not just at that point, but then it becomes this thing of this, because I get so plugged in and so connected. It's as if, even when my phone rings, I already know who it is before I go pick up the phone, not because you called me. Yeah, because you're ringing my phone, but I called you in the first place because it's only one mind. I'm connected. I'm in there. I'm part of the one mind, the same mind that you're part of. And so all I got to do is align my thinking. All I gotta do is align my thinking, and I can call it forth, that law of attraction. I can call it forth even before you know what's happening. I just, because it's all one. It's that wholeness that is, the part of the fabric. And fabric is the wrong word. It's part of the presence, the energy that you are. Fabric gives us this idea that it's some tangible something. But at the same time, we understand what fabric is because we understand the fabric of life. We understand that we can make all the things that we see. We are powerfully creative because in the beginning, God created. And so since God is creative, we are also creative. And so it becomes this thing of us understanding this interweaving and making up and knowing this interweaving, this coming together, and this connectedness, because it is the truth about the soul level. It didn't come out of nowhere. It came out of us recognizing and knowing the truth about our being. So, let me see. Where do I want to go from here? Because I have, it is, oh, wow, I've only got 20 minutes left. Okay, so if you have tuned in to listen to Rachel, Rachel had a previous engagement. Her daughter is in something today, and she will be back next Monday at 7:30 to 8 o'clock to talk to you. And I know she's thinking about you and missing you. And so I'm here. This is Sandra Bishop. I don't know if I told you guys that before or not, but this is Sandra Bishop, and I will be here every Monday and Wednesday from 6:30 to 7:30. And so today I'm here from 6:30 to 8 since I'm doing Rachel's half hour. And so, oh, I'm just so happy to be here. Mm. So let me tell you guys this too. Um, you know, oh, okay. So let me tell you guys this, and I'll tell you this by way of another story. It seems like I want to tell another story, but I don't know which one I want to tell. I've always got so many juicy little stories that I've been through, because because everything in life is here to teach us, right? And so for us to think that anything that we experience is not a spiritual lesson is to kind of like misplace, not to see the truth. Um, okay. That's good. That's good. I have to move these mice every once in a while because I start talking. If I don't touch my computer, then it wants to go down. Okay, so everything is just these little juicy lessons. So and it's so funny because the course tells us we're never upset for the reasons that we think we are. We have this tendency to always feel, and this is some people more than others. Some people always feel attacked. I know that I have gone through periods of my life where I always felt like I was being attacked, lions and tigers and bears, oh my, thinking that there was something out there to get me, thinking that around every corner something was going to jump out and attack me, and so it became this fearful projection that I was making, that I created in my own mind, and there was nothing really to fear. You guys understand that fear, false evidence appearing real, however you want to say it, but fear is something that we create, and we, keep up with it. We're all paranoid schizophrenics, is what Ken Wapnick would say, huh? So, so this past Sunday, my where I go to church, the guy, I'm speaking there on the 28th, and I'm teaching a class and all that other stuff. So, Reverend Jackson is the minister there, and there's a level at which I adore him. He is just he is just adorable. I mean, his spirit is just so wonderful and so giving. But then there is another part of him that is this probably his father. I mean, he talks about his dad. No, I actually don't. I don't go to Tony's church stuff. um, so it's funny, and that's a different thing too. That's a whole different story. But so this past Sunday, he's got this part of his service where once he talks, I do this in my classes. I always let people talk to me. But he does this as part of his service. So once he talks, he probably talks about a good 20 minutes, and then he lets other people say something. So, because I have a tendency to speak a lot longer than most do when I do service there, he went from the sermon period being only like a short period of time, like 10 or 15 minutes, to increasing it, because I always had this tendency to run over. And so they took out some stuff in the beginning of the service so that there was a longer talk time. Well, when I was there on this past Sunday, he started, as he was talking, he had gotten about 20 minutes in. And then I recognize it because I do this too. Sometimes I need to take a sip of water, or sometimes I need to, somehow get some moisture back in, because I have, when I was doing regular radio, I would do sometimes marathons where I was just talking nonstop, and if I didn't have any callers, then it was like really hard on my voice. When I was doing training, when I go out and do training, I also carry a spray with me so that I can hit my throat, because sometimes when you just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk without that moisture going into your larynx area, it gets pretty bad. So anyway, he's talking, and about 20 minutes in, I see him struggling because he's trying to clear his throat, and he's got cotton mouth at this point, and he's still trying to talk. And so I stuck my hand up, like, okay, it's let me say something so that he can, get a second or two to catch his breath and to, regroup. Put my hand up. So they bring the microphone over to me, and I started talking, which is what I do. And so I put my little 2 cents in, when I talked. And I was thinking that he was really going to try to, do something about his voice, but he was like, he goes through that whole thing. And then he starts to, seems like, argue with me back, as if to say, I hear you, Sandra, but this is what I'm telling you, and blah, 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 blah. So I'm thinking, okay. So I tell the lady, one of the other ladies, I was like, you know what? You need to go get him some water. And so she goes, and it takes her a minute, but she finally brings over this little some water to him. I should have told her not to put ice in there and all that other good stuff that you learn when you've been doing this for a while. So she takes the cup of water and she sits it up on the lectern, and right where he could get it. And so as soon as she had the water in place, I put my hand up again. Now this time it's the same reason, because he needs to like take a break and drink some water, get his voice together, and then he could close out service. Well, again, it seems as though he felt under attack, that I was somehow disagreeing with what he was saying. And I was not trying to disagree. I was trying to be helpful. But when we perceive attack, it doesn't matter. We're going to see attack. It doesn't matter whether the attack is real or not, because the attack is in our own mind. We project out, we make real what we believe. It's not based on what somebody else is doing. It's based on our belief. You know what I'm talking about. You see people who get jealous all the time in relationships, and they try to tell you what you were doing and what you were thinking and what you intended to do had they not stopped you or had they not been there. They're constantly projecting onto you their thoughts and their beliefs, because it's not the other person. It's not what they're doing. It's what's in your own head. And because it's in your head, you believe that is true. So it says in the course that when you are having attack thoughts, it's because you first attacked yourself. So whether the attack is real or not, you'll believe that it's real because you've attacked yourself. It all starts, all these lessons are our own lessons. And so this whole thing about our fears is like this misperception that we have based on our own thinking, to think that it is true. The misperception that somehow you know more, you know better, all of that other stuff. Okay, so let me see how Dove puts it. If he doesn't speak of Christ to you, it's because you didn't speak of Christ to him. You're exactly right, Dove. You're exactly right. And so whether or not I thought I was doing good or not, ha, you're saying I didn't speak Christ of him. Okay. I know. I say that quote all the time. I love that. I love that. I'm always saying what's missing is what I failed to bring. If I'm not bringing it, if love is missing, it's because I didn't bring it. Ah, bless your heart, right? so, so here's the funny thing. His wife says after service, because you know me, I'm just thinking like this is the dance that he and I do. Because I adore this guy. I mean, he's cool with me. So I don't have any like, any like malicious thoughts towards him. And when I disagree or when I've got something to say, I think I do so respectfully. That's what I do. But his wife says to me, or says to him and I, you guys have to watch it because other people who don't know you two would really think that you are adversaries and don't like each other. But it's like it's simply the dance. It's the dance. It's the dance. It's the dance that we seem to do. And so, hey, Doc. And so we get caught up in the dance and we don't recognize that other people are watching the dance. And so sometimes some people are just so cool to kind of like bat ideas off of and to do the dance with. And it becomes an exercise that, we're still recognizing that only love is real and that it's all love. And so other people perceiving it as something else is a whole different thing. But we can sit there and do our dance and still have total respect for one another, and I think that that's a cool thing. So it's not the words we say; it's what's in our mind. That's where the mirror is. You can't fool Mother Nature. Perfect mirrors. Yeah, yeah. And but and it's funny because I think that if the dance didn't work for either of us, we wouldn't do it anymore. I had the option of going anywhere, of doing anything. If the dance didn't work, we wouldn't do it. So the ego says, let me not open my mouth, and he or she will not know what's really in my mind. Yeah, that's what the ego says. and so I was trying to be helpful. I was trying to be helpful, and so in my being thinking that I was being helpful, so he could get a drink of water. There was another perception there, and it's all good. It's all good. And so maybe there was a part of me that was thinking that I had enhanced things too. uh, I had enhanced things too. So yeah, it's part of that. So yeah, the ego has this thing. The ego would say, yeah, I enhanced things, right? The ego would say that I made it better. The ego was saying that I added to it. The ego would say, oh, I was being helpful. The ego would say all of that stuff. But what's true? Huh? Is it what's true? Is it what was perceived to be true? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I know that if I saw my brother in trouble again, I'd try my best to help out and do what I did all over again. So that's it. Hey, Charles. I just got a thing over on Ustream. Somebody typed in that chat window. So I see that, and I see all of you guys too. So cool. This whole multimedia thing is so cool. So, so here, I want to say that no matter what, like in this particular situation, whatever the cause, the motives, all of that, whatever it is, I'm guiltless. My brother is guiltless. We're all guiltless. And so there is this idea that somehow, like we didn't give our best, and somebody is going to like give us a demerit for it. But really, you're guiltless. You are guiltless. Guiltless, right? There is no condemnation here. There is no putting you down. There is no persecution. You are not persecutable. And so there's no need in defending or try to people please and saying that I did not do what I did, because I am unable to be assailed. No assault possible here. So if I know that to be true, why not speak my truth? And why not try to be this people pleaser that wants to tell you what you think you ought to hear, so I can have you thinking that I'm some kind of goody two shoe. I am who I am. I do what I do. This is my truth. And so, no people pleasing, you guys. No people pleasing. Can I say that again? No people pleasing. It is all good, whatever it is. And you are totally guiltless in the eyes of God. And so, a lot of times, what my request is let me see my brother as you would see, God would see them, you know. Let me see my brother as God would see them. And then what I recognize is that God is not having all the judgments about my brother or my sister or whoever that I'm having. So if I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, you know, oh, you know, that guy, whoever that is up in Boston, Massachusetts, or whoever it may be, I'm not sitting there thinking all the thoughts about them of condemnation of this, that, and the other, because I know that God is not. I and I'm getting short on time here, but I am just one of those firm believers in this whole thing that everybody has a part to play in this particular realm that we're in. So if we are in, as Joseph Campbell would say, this world of form, this world where we're taking on forms, if we're here and in this space, um, how did I want to say this? In this particular space, we're here. But the truth of the matter is that all that we're doing here is beyond our understanding. Is that how I want to say it? It's beyond our own comprehension. So, and we always have this tendency to think that we know what it's all about. So we want to get caught up in, even if we're looking at the story of Jesus, Jesus is saying, you know what? You didn't take my life. I laid it down. I laid it down so I could show you that I could pick it back up again. So I could show you that the body wasn't my grave. That body wasn't the end of me. That's what he was saying in essence. That I gave this to you as a lesson to you, right? That what Jesus was transcended all of this bodily stuff. Necessary to the story of Jesus and what took place for Jesus was Judas. Judas has a role to play in that particular story as well, just like Pontius Pilate did and all the rest of those people that were out there saying, choosing Barabbas and saying kill him, and all this other stuff. Everybody had a part to play. Everybody's part was necessary. Regardless of how we judge that part, it was a necessary part. All we have to do is show up and play our part. We like to say, oh, as long as the part doesn't hurt anybody or doesn't step on any toes. But sometimes stepping on toes is necessary. Sometimes certain things are necessary for us to play out the plot, for us to do. I know this is hard. Some folks don't want to accept this. People don't like to hear it. But every one of us has to die at some point. These bodies of ours has to die. And so the sooner we can come to making peace with this, because this is what this book is teaching us. This is what we're here to learn. We're here to learn peace. The sooner we can make peace with what is, simply is, that's all it is. Whatever happens, happens perfectly. Thank you, Dove. All is well. The sooner we can learn that there is a force that is at work and present in this universe, that knows the truth, that is, yeah, all of that stuff. The sooner we can make peace with that. Yes, that's what I was just talking about. The soonest we can make peace with that, then we'll be at peace. Yes, if it happened. Yes, 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 yes. So you guys, I love this stuff. I love this stuff. Because yes, we get to a place of trust. And trust says that I trust even when I don't know. I trust. I trust. I trust. Even when I don't understand, I simply trust that God has it all under control. Even when it doesn't look like it, it's all good. It's all good. Oh, I love it. So you guys, okay, so I'm at yes, thank you, Doug. So you guys, I'm at 7:58, and I usually run over. I know I usually run over into somebody else's time, so I don't get off until 8:01 or 8:02. So let me do this now. So this has been Sandra Bishop. I have here on Mondays and Wednesdays from 6:30 to 7:30. Today, since Rachel was so kind as to ask me to do her half hour for her, I was here an extended 90 minutes. So thank you for being with me. Um, to rely upon spirit totally. That's what trust means. Thank you. So Monday, Wednesdays, I'll be here from 6:30 to 7:30. Tuesdays, I'm teaching a class here in Cleveland, Ohio, right there on Buckeye Avenue, 1713 Buckeye Avenue, from 7 to 8:30. If you'd like to come out, if you're in the Cleveland area, please come out and join me. You can find out more information about that by going to my website, sandrasaidit.com. You can follow me on Twitter at SamBishop, SAMBISHOP, at SamBishop on Twitter. You can friend me on Facebook, Sandra D. Bishop, or you can like me at facebook.com/Sandra Thrives. There's all my stuff. And I hope to see you soon. Hope to talk to you soon. I'll be back here on Wednesday from 6:30 to 7:30. So remember, I love you, and I'll talk to you guys soon. With that, I'm putting down the mic. Thank you, Dove. Love ya. Here we go.